Who's doing the show today?
Caitlin.
Oh yeah, you got cards.
I do have cards.
Oh yeah, the first one's the prison one. I couldn't remember. I was like, feck. So I watched that one yesterday, and we all know that if I did something yesterday, it might as well have happened in a different person's life. Whereas this other one, I haven't watched at all, so I'm going to be really winging it. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it.
You definitely watched it.
I'd be interested in what your synopsis would be if you hadn't seen the episode.
It would be really funny if I was like, and it turns out that Neelix really likes big Klingon women. I don't know where I'm getting that, but he does. He loves them. He is all about that life. Fucking big Nordy pervert. So exciting for me personally. Welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake.
Are you sure?
I think so.
You watching TikToks, Jake?
Tick-tocking around.
Chris.
And Ames.
And we're here today on episode 311.
Woo!
What's that song that they had? Remember 311?
Oh God, I'm gonna accidentally sing a Sublime song instead.
I know.
Aren't
I almost made a Sublime joke.
I was gonna start singing a Sublime song because I don't remember.
Anyway, 311. That's a band. Insert your favorite reference to really old pop music here, I guess. I don't know. We're here to talk about, surprisingly, 2 more episodes of Star Trek The Voyager. Today we're going to discuss repentance, and prophecy. In repentance... Wow, I have to
never said the word repentance this often.
It's a weird word.
It's losing all meaning.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
It loses quick. Yeah, it's one of those words that just...
That can't be.
It's
word.
It's that N before the T. It's like repentance.
Past repentance.
Anyway... I really am trying to, harken back to what this is about.
There's a prison ship, and it's exploding.
Yeah, but, is that what happens? Okay.
They have, a breach or something.
Yeah.
Alright, so both of these episodes actually start the same.
Yeah, it's breach week.
Alright, it's breach week.
Breach week. Like a whale.
Like the orca whales that are in Cape Cod and
they're my
destroying
heroes.
yachts.
Yes, get the yachts.
Alright, repentance. Repentance. We open with it's a prison... it's not actually a prison ship, it's a transport ship of prisoners.
Yes.
And they are having an emergency, a breach. And so they get transported over to the Voyager, and the Voyager, Starfleet has some weird ideas about how, prisoners should be treated like human beings. They want to feed them food, more than maybe once a day, and they don't approve of...
The constant beatings?
The beatings of the prisoners.
Have no fun, Starfleet.
I know. And one of them gets, the absolute... who is it? Aiko. So Aiko gets the shit. He's a prisoner, and he's done a murder. And he gets...
He's the crazy one, too.
Yeah, he's wild. Well, he's a sociopath, probably, and that's probably because of reasons.
We'll get to it.
So, anyway, he is being a standoffish prick, and he gets the shit kicked out of him by the Nagian guards, who, seem to think it's really fun to beat the shit out of unarmed people.
Have you tried it, though?
No, I haven't. It's probably great. Just kidding.
Oh, God.
I'm sure I would hate that.
How much of a monster can I be today?
But anyway, he winds up in sickbay, and he's all fucked up, and I guess they nanoprobe him to try to make him healthy again.
As one does.
And the nanoprobes make him grow a conscience. Because it turns out he was born without a conscience.
Gland something.
Yeah, basically some of his neural pathways didn't fully develop. And so he... Yeah, just basically did not have a sense of right and wrong. And
now he does, and he feels real bad about them things he's done. And so, because they have this, this physical evidence, these prisoners are all on their way home to the Nagian homeworld to be executed for their crimes. But they're but wait a minute, this guy is repenting, and he now knows the difference between right and wrong, and... He didn't before, and it was because of medical reasons, so perhaps he should be given a stay of execution. And the Nagians are And they were like, but could we, like, try? And they're like, well, I mean, you can appeal to the victim's family, but it's up to them. So they go and they speak to the victims' families, and they're like, look, there was this biological thing that was missing, and now he's a good guy, and he made this really nice apology. And they were like, nope, fuck him, kill him anyway, we don't really care.
Should have killed somebody from a more forgiving family, apparently.
Yeah, really. It's like you gotta go after? Listen to a lot of true crime. I feel like Mormon families are always super nice about it.
That's very strange.
Have you noticed that, Chris? Well,
Chris is shaking his head.
Yeah, sorry.
There's
audio
this
medium.
one episode, particularly of Small Town Murder, where they talk to that guy who's like a saint. It's like his wife was murdered, and he's just like, I don't want them to be put to death. Like, she'd want them to be forgiven.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
I want to just have it. Well, he was Mormon. I just want it to be known that if anyone murders me, I would absolutely not. I would not turn the other cheek. I would not be like, oh, we should take the high road. If someone murders me and you have proof and you know that they did it, fuck them, okay? This is me telling you, don't say shit like, Caitlin would want them to, like, have another chance. No, fuck them, okay? Anyway, in case.
I'm gonna canonize them.
Thank you. Jake's like, I'm gonna murder you. That's what I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna be like, I'm gonna kill
But what if it's me?
Well, there goes my plan.
Damn it. Anyway, it's all a very interesting discussion about the death penalty and about prison.
Well, yeah,
and
rehabilitating prisoners.
Rehabilitation.
And then there's the other side with Neelix and his friend, Kike.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kike.
Doesn't his friend, like, ultimately decide that he's gonna try to, like, get treated so that he can grow a conscience, even though he probably has a conscience, he's just a shit?
Yeah, he's just a piece of shit. That was
Poor
just,
Neelix.
he was just trying to get out and trying to trick poor little trusting Neelix.
Well, I mean, the thing is, so the interesting thing about that is we still don't know.
If the brother did it, like, came and tried to free everybody himself.
Well, not even just that, but we still don't know that he actually did kill anyone.
Oh, that's a good point. He's like the one that's been saying up and down, it wasn't me, and I wouldn't try to upheal. I wouldn't try to upheal, because then it sounds like I'm admitting it when I wouldn't.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I think he very well may have not. We genuinely don't know.
It could just be the systematic racism.
Yeah, there's definitely systematic racism in this system.
Oh yeah, these people are
the worst.
100. Well, I was gonna say this group of people that they're executing are like 70 times more likely to commit a crime and or whatever, and also, like, what was the other thing? Like, they're more likely to have harsher consequences.
Oh, yeah.
And shit. Like, it was very like police brutality against Black Americans.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one of the least subtle metaphors they've recently done.
Yeah, but they kind of undercut it by having
him be
a dickhead.
I mean, the thing is, like,
there are dickheads.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one of the, issues with systematic racism is, like, when someone from that group who actually is bad comes along, there's always doubt as to whether or not they actually are, because...
Yeah, but I don't think the episode was saying that.
No, I know. I definitely felt like at the end having him sort of like... Having everyone have been right about it, sort of, kind of, is definitely like, hey, what are you doing here, episode?
I think they kind of dropped the ball with the messaging.
They did.
In this episode.
At least in the B plot.
Yeah, and even in the A plot, like...
Yeah, the thing with the A plot is, it's like, oh, he's salvationable. I have no idea what word I'm looking for. Salvageable. Like wreckage.
Repentance.
He's repentable because, we fixed his brain. And it was only because, he had a medical issue that he was bad.
It was only because he was a violent, insane person. That's the other thing.
Exactly, yeah. And that's... I
feel
feel like
the
it
mentally
didn't
ill.
that.
The mentally ill are always crazy.
I feel like if instead of, oh, we fixed you because you had a brain issue, instead of, just talking with Seven, who is a person who listens to other people, who's, she accepts your chatting and stuff like that. She's a bendable ear. And if just chatting with someone who's not treating you like garbage makes you, start coming around, I feel like that could have been a more interesting way to approach that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he even was like, even before they, reconnected his pathways, it was clear that just having someone talk to him was already kind of helping a little. And it is obvious that prison system is fucking terrible and relishes in brutality and cruelty. Not like, the real world.
Yeah,
I
none
was
that
gonna say,
I
what,
know.
not like ours.
This is another case, I think, of Starfleet associating with shitty people and not calling them on their shit in the name of the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
Like, okay, capital punishment is illegal in the Federation, except for going to Talos. But other than that, that's the only thing.
And it's not clear. It's unclear if that's still in the books after the menagerie.
Yeah, I doubt. I think that's been totally forgotten about. Canon. But here's the thing. So a lot of countries in the world, even if they have, they'll refuse to extradite people to, like, the United States, for example, where there's capital punishment, on the grounds that, well, we don't have capital punishment, so if we extradite this person, you have to guarantee that that's off the table.
Give an example here.
And then America crosses their fingers behind their backs and goes, lol, we promise.
So you're saying, like, if someone from, like, Sweden or one of the other good countries, like, needs to extradite a prisoner, they'd be like, oh crap, not to America. America's one of the stupid ones.
Well, if it's a capital crime where they could potentially be executed in the United States, a lot of countries will not extradite unless they get assurances that they won't be executed.
I mean, a similar kind of thing now is a lot of places here can't execute their prisoners right now because a lot of the chemicals they need aren't made here.
Mm-hmm. Right, they're made in other countries.
Who are refusing, understandably, to sell them to us because they know what they're going to use it for.
Yeah. Yeah, and also just finding people to administer these drugs, because they need to be administered by a licensed physician, and physicians take the Hippocratic Oath. So finding one that's gonna participate in this is not that easy.
Nope.
Well, it doesn't seem like it's been that hard either.
Yeah, but oftentimes they don't get administered properly. They get administered by there's an
and then you die a horrible death.
Yeah, yes. and then they end up with these horribly botched executions where, like, people suffer for
hours.
Minutes. Hopefully not hours, but
and for some reason that doesn't make people like it anymore. I don't understand.
Yeah, there's a really good Errol Morris documentary that I recommend called, I think it's called Mr. Death.
Yeah.
All about, I mean, I don't want to spoil it because there's, like, weird and crazy twists in it, and it is a documentary, but it's all about, like, a guy that is not a physician but who, like, does executions. It's a good documentary.
It's funny how we fucking love executions here but don't like assisted suicide.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like a contradictory fucking stance.
I mean, what about all the pro-lifers that are also pro-capital punishment?
Yeah, I know. I know we're not saying anything anyone listening here hasn't thought about, but Christ, it's still frustrating.
My point is, like, I do not see the justification in the Prime Directive for you've rescued these people, and then you're just
going to deliver them to their death. And you're just going to deliver
them to an execution. Like, I would think that once they're on your ship, I don't think Prime Directive applies. It's not like you're going down to their planet to stop their executions.
No, and even if, like, they had like lesser, like, abilities or science and technology than them, by the time once you've zapped them on board, it's kind of all out the window, isn't it? Because isn't that what the Prime Directive is about? Is, like, not exposing, like, cultures who are behind us.
That's only one part of it.
There's multiple parts. That is part of it, but also it's just you don't mess with the internal affairs.
Yeah, read our blog post on this that a lot of people have complained about the same thing on, and then I think it was in that Prodigy episode where they have the definition of the Prime Directive, which is basically like, you don't fuck with other races' cultures.
What interfere means seems to be very flexible, especially mostly again depending upon how badly do you want a thing that other culture has.
I was just gonna say, don't interfere unless you really want to this week.
Do they have dilithium?
Yeah, and, like, I guess, like, if there was a justification that oh, these people are way more powerful than us, and if we don't,
otherwise they will murder us.
they're gonna.
So what are you proposing they do instead?
I would say
none of them asked for sanctuary. Even Aiko basically said, like, yeah, well, whatever the family's response is, I will go with it. Like, I'm not asking you to, like, hold me here.
Well, he's a weird dude. I bet you if they asked Kike, if Neelix was like, listen, Captain Janeway's given you the option of requesting asylum on Voyager, you'll be in prison on Voyager because you're a nut.
Prison on Voyager is you get quarters. You get quarters like Suter did.
We'll give you the Suter treatment.
To be fair, though, Suter is dead.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a free room.
That was unrelated. That was through badassery.
But I don't know. It just seems very weird that Janeway is participating.
Yeah.
She's just ferrying people.
Right. I would, if I were her, I'd refuse to ferry them. I'd say,
what are you supposed? Stop! We're stopping, and you're going to turn around, young lady. What are you going to do?
That is sort of the problem. Is that because they're not near home. Like, they could, in theory, just drop them off somewhere other than their home world, but there's still just the same chance they'll just find a friend of theirs to bring them who doesn't care.
There's, maritime law, or not law, but, treaties that say that, okay, you gotta help a ship in distress.
Yeah.
And that's what's applying here.
Yeah.
The ship was in distress, they had to help. I don't know what the rules say in real life, let alone in Starfleet, of, in a situation like this. Once you've saved the lives of the people who were on the ship that was gonna blow up, what's your next move? What if their destination was 10,000 light years in the opposite direction? Are they obligated to bring them there?
Well, no, they actually tried to get them to bring them back to the home world, and they were like, well, we're going in the opposite direction, so we'll drop you somewhere else. So they're already definitely not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is, again, just sort of one of those situations that would be given more thought by them if they weren't nowhere near anyone else they work with.
Mm.
If this was in the Alpha Quadrant, that would be one thing. But this is, Delta Quadrant, what are we going to do? Ferry these people around and potentially just locked away for anywhere from 20 to 50 more years?
I thought they should have stuck them in those cryopods they used in 1.
Those don't exist anymore. They only existed for that story.
They were so nice.
Yeah. Also, for Federation attitudes on capital punishment, see also Justice. Where the Prime Directive don't mean shit.
Trampling those flowers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that was a situation where they blatantly broke the law of another culture, where the punishment was established, and we're gonna kill you, and then Picard's like, no, I want to fuck his mom, so I'm gonna fuck your Prime Directive
and his mom.
That's a 3-way.
Definitely. That'll be an interesting blog post one day, is comparing all the really shit legal systems of other cultures.
They're all bad. I hate them all.
You flatter me, sir. You flatter me.
Well, this one,
they're at
this
the top.
culture
They're
here
the best
in this
one.
episode is especially bad, given that they let the victims
Oh,
decide
yeah.
the punishment.
Oh yeah, and they're not objective at all.
Right, which is
they just experienced some kind of tragedy or a loss or any crime.
Yeah.
Well, and it's that made me think of, again, I assumed that was a not so subtle nod to, people always talking about victims' rights. And it's victims don't not have rights just because the accused have rights too. But I feel like people always try to frame it like that.
Yeah.
It's the guy does all these. Well, first of all, they're innocent until proven guilty. And, these appeals to emotion that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous. And Neelix seems to get that until Kike's like, yeah, but imagine if you were the victim, and then Neelix is like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. It's like, no, you're not. No, exactly. That's exactly why you shouldn't let the victim decide the punishment.
Yeah, they're not objective.
Yeah,
I mean, neither in reality is the legal system, but in theory it is.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, again, in theory, in very big scare quotes.
You guys watch it was a show. Was it on Netflix or where was it? Jury Duty.
it was on Freevee.
It was on
it was on Freevee.
On Freevee. It was interesting. They basically had a like a call for like, okay, who wants to be on a documentary about being on a jury?
Ooh.
And they picked their jury, and the twist of the whole show is only one of the people that they pick for this jury thinks he's serving on a jury. Everyone else is actors.
Well, aren't a few of them actually like well known too? Like, isn't
Only
Jason
one.
Marsden
Yeah,
one of them?
James Marsden.
James
is in
Marsden.
Playing himself.
Cyclops?
He's playing a cartoonish version of himself.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
And it's really good.
He seems to have found a niche. Good for him.
Yeah, I recommend the show. There's a point where you're like, how like daft is this guy that he hasn't figured out that like all these crazy things keep happening on this jury.
Nice. His everything he knows about juries comes from fucking sitcoms. Clearly,
Yeah.
a jury is never straightforward on television, even in dramas, because then it's a dramatic thing. I blame 12 Angry Men. I have never sat on a jury, I'm happy to say.
I have, and one of the pieces of evidence was a blurry dick pic from an old flip phone.
Nice.
I'm so sorry.
I sat in a jury, and one of the pieces of evidence was a shirt covered in blood and stab wounds.
Oh my
See,
God.
I would have much preferred that to the dick pic.
Yeah, no, I've been called twice. The first time, it was a Friday. I was in a late pool, and they ended up not needing me, but it counted as having served.
Oh, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Late on a Friday is like the time to request if you can like get it pushed back too.
And you got to be in a pool? Lucky.
And then the more recent time, which was within the last couple of months, they like didn't call me for years. They forgot I existed. It was beautiful. And then they called me, and then I even got so far as they were picking the jury, and I was like, "Fuck!" But it was only I think a 7-person jury, which I didn't know was a thing.
I think that's for like civil.
Yeah,
That's
and-
the express jury.
Yeah, either way they filled all the slots before they got to me.
Wow.
Although I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have gotten on because they, one of the questions they asked was, because it was a traffic violation thing.
Do you love cops?
Basically, not exactly, but they did say, one of the witnesses for the prosecution is a police officer. Would you?
And Chris is there wearing his ACAB shirt.
Well, they were like, are you either more or less likely to believe a police officer? Either way, raise your hand if either of those apply. And when people had it, they would bring them up to have like a sidebar with the judge and the lawyers, and I was very ready to go. I won't not trust a damn thing that fucking fascist says.
Yeah, when they were picking the jury that I ended up serving on, the question they asked was, the victim in this case is African American. Will that affect your ability to?
Are you a huge racist?
Yeah. But they didn't ask it openly. They called everybody up individually, and the judge asked.
Well, yeah, that's what with mine they asked sort of open-ended questions, just like if any of these apply to you, raise your hand, and then you were called up one by one, so they could be like, so what's the deal here?
Yeah, but I imagine they didn't. Imagine nobody is sitting there in the jury pool and being like, "Yeah, I'm the racist. I don't."
Was in the show.
But I do
the jury duty show. It was very funny.
I do wonder if anybody told that to the judge who was black. Yeah, that will affect my judgment.
Isn't that hilarious? Doesn't that happen in an episode of Curb where, Larry goes before a judge and he's, recently, there's that woman in that one season who used to be like, oh, Larry David, who doesn't want to hire a black man.
Oh, right.
And then, I think, that...
Oh, yeah, it was the episode where...
Cheryl needs the itch cream, anti-itch cream, and there's, a black doctor... And he has to, tell the whole room full of people that he made some horrible joke, and I don't know. Anyway, this sounds very Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's an episode for that. I just can't remember all the details.
There's a Curb for everything.
That's
True.
true. God,
Simpsons
I love that
did
show. No, it says the Bart, the.
My very first
No one
note
who speaks German could be an evil man.
on my card is the disappointment on Picardo's face when he's taken hostage is amazing.
You can't hurt me. I'm a hologram.
Oh, you've done it wrong, guy.
That was great. I saw Alyssa's point. He was so annoyed. It's like, you can't hurt me, but you can. What's the word I want? Inconvenience me,
yeah.
And I am now inconvenienced. Another fact they shot him through him was pretty funny. I loved that. That was great.
Yeah, that was a good move.
It's like an Edison Force when Dylan McDermott or whatever his name is shoots the fucking terrorist through the woman's shoulder.
Or
Yeah.
RoboCop, where he shoots through the dress and shoots the guy's penis off.
Shoots him right in the dick.
Because there's no major arteries in the shoulder. Oh, wait.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in the dick. It's going to be like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of blood happening in the dick. That's how the dick works.
Yeah, another thing that this episode again demonstrated for us is how stupid it is to have prison cells that have force fields.
Yeah.
The door.
That's why my cryopod idea is so much better.
Well, a door
Yeah.
with a lock.
Yeah.
Also, though, all this time they could make it so the force fields have little pass-through holes. That's never been a thing before.
Yeah, I struggle to even understand how that works. Like,
Science.
yeah.
Yeah. Doors are still a thing, guys.
Nah. Got rid of those in the 25th century. Wait, what century is it in the show?
24th.
Damn it.
Aiko's connection to the stars was very cute.
Mm.
I loved his line when they hand him, when Seven's like,
Yeah.
if you like that, you'll like this. And it's just a pad full of numbers and nonsense. And he says, it's just words and numbers. I would like to see maybe the stars.
And then she's like, no, you gotta understand, after a while, you don't just see numbers. You're like, oh, blonde, brunette, redhead.
Oh, like in Severance. Have you seen Severance? We're just going to talk about other shows because
I was quoting The Matrix.
Oh, dang it.
You like the lady in red? I could introduce you, whatever the fuck.
Oh, so, yeah, I've heard of it. That's the one where, like, people basically literally disconnect their work and home lives and their brains or whatever.
And
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very good. It's on Apple.
It's got
That's interesting, but like, what would you talk about? Because if you had no connection to your entire day...
Well, it's more about their work lives, where, like, no, I don't want to spoil anything, because you should definitely watch this, but, like, they don't even know who they are. Like, their existence begins at the end of the day, or at the start of the day.
Yeah, it starts when you get off the elevator.
Yeah, they get out, like, all they know is they get off an elevator. They have no memories outside of that, of their life. And then at the end of the day, they get back in the elevator, and the next thing, that instead of getting off the elevator,
They're back on
it just
the
opens up, and it's the next day, and they're back at work. So from there, like, so they have these, complete personalities that only exist at work.
Yeah, the innie self versus the outie self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very
a really
clever.
good show.
But the job that they're doing is so nonsensical because the show starts with the new girl's her first day, and okay, you look at the screen full of numbers, and when you see it, you press the button, and she's like, "What do I see? Oh, you'll know."
Yeah.
No, but what am I looking for? Oh, you'll find it.
There's a real Aperture Laboratories quality to
I was
the,
about
to
to
the, to
that,
the workplace.
Or the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, very much.
What's that?
It's a first-person narrative game, and you play as this guy Stanley, and it's literally his job just to sit at a desk and push enter when his computer tells him to. But it spirals out of control very quickly from there.
Yeah.
Great game.
It very much feels like that this show was inspired by that, and probably also like the
Portal games.
the Portal games and things like that, because there's just this weird quality to it.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a good episode. It's just upsetting.
It's
'Cause
supposed
it's
to be
too real.
upsetting. Yeah, it's good that it's that good kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
Like, what other, like a Tuvix, or like what other one we were talking about? Memorial's
Yeah.
ones that you're at the end you're like, this makes me angry because they had to make this decision, or they were put upon in this way, and it's like, good, be angry.
Yeah. I think this one's just extra depressing because it's a little too real.
Yeah, I mean, I was less excited about this one. I think at some points they fumbled. The ball.
Definitely.
Like the Kike stuff, they fumbled the ball.
There were a couple like that very, very first discussion between Seven and Doctor where she's like, but why don't you just why should we fix him instead of just kill him because he's going to get killed anyway?
Why do people use drugs?
I mean, that's her.
Like, that's a little simplified, Seven, but all right, okay. I'm glad you guys are bringing it up.
I mean, she comes round, but that's definitely her sort of knee-jerk Borg upbringing reaction, so I buy it,
I mean, my impression is that what the writers wanted to do is kind of make it a Seven dilemma episode, and they even have like Janeway be like, "Are you sure you actually give a shit about this guy, or are you just trying to like repent for
Is it
your
Isheb's father who's bad or your father who's bad?
Yeah, are you like trying to repent for
Why
your
can't it be
sins?"
both?
Well, that time she did admit it was both.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Because her dad was awful.
Oh, yeah.
What an idiot.
Moron.
Ugh.
But yeah, so I don't know. Kind of mixed bag on this one for me.
Yeah. Like you said, they kind of fumbled some stuff, which was unfortunate.
They did an interesting... I don't know, interesting. Maybe interesting isn't the right word. They did a different thing with Seven in that suddenly, like, she didn't want to talk about her Borg experiences. Like, Aiko asked, "Oh, what's the thing above your eye? Does it hurt?" And she's like, "No, I have no memories of this thing even being put in."
Well, that actually, I feel like that maybe just makes sense if you consider it is actually just sort of a sign of her being less Borg. Of just like, now that she's had time to sort of think about it and get more used to human perspective, she's like, actually, I don't like thinking about this stuff. No, wait a minute.
If that's what it is, then I'm for that. But it came out of a little bit nowhere because I feel
That's
like
true.
The week prior, if someone asked her, "What's that thing?" It's a Borg thing. Does it hurt? I don't give a shit if it hurts or not. Feelings are irrelevant.
Yeah, no,
Pain is irrelevant.
I'll give you that. There wasn't a lot to say set up for it necessarily.
I also just felt like, even though they were sort of dealing with a new aspect of this, it felt like we've had this kind of episode trotted out a million times before, even if, like, the big point wasn't the same. I don't know.
Yeah, there's only so many moral dilemmas.
We done with that?
Yes. Look at the mirror that we've held up to your society.
Wow, jails are bad, guys. Privatized prisons are really bad. Treating prisoners like chattel is bad.
Being
They're
fair,
still people.
we don't know if this was a privatized prison system. That was not explicit.
Yeah, this. I mean, this.
Oh,
society,
I know. I'm just
I
explicitly
know.
saying that privatized prisons are awful.
Oh no, they are. They are. It's a.
Yeah, this society does seem almost as fucked up as, say, like the Klingons. They're also quite fucked up, aren't they?
Is
Wow.
Jake segueing?
What? Jake, did you know that the next episode that we're talking about is about Klingons?
What?
I know. It's almost like you were prophetic.
Wow.
Hey. This episode is Prophecy, brought to you by Dum Dums.
Lollipops?
That's right.
Ooh.
Dum-be-doo-be-doo-be-dum-dum-dum-dum. Remember those weird commercials?
No.
Dum Dums had the weirdest fucking
I don't
commercials
remember
ever.
this.
Okay, do you remember the blow pop commercials? It's like the kids were directing the commercial.
I don't think I do.
I
Fruit
remember the
flavored
Tootsie
candy
Roll.
on the outside, bubblegum on the inside. That's
remember
a blow
that
pop.
slogan.
That's a blow pop.
Oh, yeah,
From
God.
Charms.
Those were
yeah,
terrible.
That sounds
Boy,
right.
we are unfocused tonight,
Say
even
it's
for
from
us.
Charms. What? Cut. I used to
So, prophecy.
Prophecy.
Blow pops were the worst.
Blow pops were disgusting, dude, because you would just get fucking candy in the gum
Yeah.
and crunching all over the fucking place.
Terrible
disgusting.
fucking idea.
No, it's bad.
The Tootsie Roll pop was way better.
Yeah, that's the way. Do you know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop, though?
3. Now, prophecy.
It is 3.
He's
That's,
right.
That's the correct
He
answer.
got the answer.
What about Bomb Pops? Anyway, in
Bomb Pop's ice cream. Or
Jake,
popsicle.
stop enabling. Bad.
Jake, never stop enabling.
we gotta get, like,
Jake,
fucking-
we're the best part of this show.
Where do you
don't
come
listen
down
to
on
them.
Chupa Chups?
Oh, I love Chupa Chups.
We've got to get, like, little spray bottles like
But I
the cat.
especially like
We
the
need to
ice cream
put them in their
flavored
own
ones, the chocolate
soundproof
vanilla
jars.
ones, and the strawberry vanilla ones. Those are my favorite ones.
Mm.
Anyway, Chupa Chups. Hi Chew. Delicious. God bless
Is it
you.
Chups or Choops? I've always said
It's
Chupa Chups.
CHUP. So it's Chupa, CHUPA.
I'm just gonna fade out on
and
this
Chups
in
is
the edit.
CHUPS.
Smart.
Okay. Prophecy. So, as you may recall, B'Elanna hath become knocked up. And,
It's the technical term.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, she's in the family way. She's in trouble. She's got a bun in the oven.
With child.
That's too obvious. That just makes it too clear what you're talking about.
Well, it just feels like what these people would
I like
say
these
because they're all
other-
fancy.
I like these other terms that have nothing to do with babby, you know?
Mm.
Alright, so anyway, can you get pregante? Yes, says B'Elanna Torres. And she is pregante. And just like the last episode, we encounter, it's the beginning of the episode, and we encounter a ship, and it's Klingons, and they're hailing us.
No, they're
Actually, they're
attacking
shooting us.
Oh, that's right. They're shooting us. That's right. I'm sorry. I forgot. So they're shooting at us. We are like, can we talk about this maybe? And the captain comes on board and sees B'Elanna and is like, hey, you're pregnant. Oh, shit. Okay, we won't fire anymore. It's definitely because of this pregnant Klingon on your ship. I'll just go back to my ship now. And he goes back to his ship and he is convinced that B'Elanna, well, is he convinced? but he's pretending to be convinced that
Let us convince you.
B'Elanna is pregnant with the, what is it, Kuvamach? What does that say?
Kuvamach.
The Kuvamach, which is like a baby, a person, a Klingon who is prophesied to save the Klingons. So he goes back and he's like, hey guys, we found him. We found the Kuva, what is it? Say it again.
Kuvamach.
Kuvamach. Okay. We found the Kuvamach. Let's blow up our ship so we can get on their ship and make some prophecies happen. So they do just that. Voyager brings over 204, was it? 214?
Something, yeah.
200 Klingons.
Too fucking many Klingons.
Which, if every Klingon is packing 2 dicks or 2 vaginas and definitely 2 buttholes each, that's a lot. That's all I'm saying.
Neat.
Just saying, they've just tripled their genitals and quadrupled their buttholes or something.
This is what happens when Caitlin does the intros.
Yeah, I know, it's a mistake. Anyway, they come over, and it turns out that Kolar, who is the captain of the Klingon ship, he doesn't even really believe that this is the Kuvamach, but he's really sick of his crew, like, wasting all their fucking time trying to find the Kuvamach. So he's like, let's just, we'll tell a little white Klingon lie about all the enemies that you've bested, B'Elanna, and about the greatness of your house, and they'll totally buy it. They'll totally buy it. However, ironically, this little unborn little oven bun is going to save these Klingons because they have something called the Neret, which comes without warning. And as I was watching, I said to Chris,
oh, no.
well, call me the Neret because I always come without warning. Anyway, it's an incurable disease, or is it? And it's only communicable to Klingons, which, bad news, baby, literally, that means that B'Elanna and baby Kuvamach now have the Neret. And the doctor, better doctor than Julian, because he is like, I am going to cure this horrible disease that kills you out of nowhere. And he actually does it. So he does it with, like, the stem cells of the baby. So he uses stem cells, and 2001 seems pretty, like, ahead of its time. This whole week was kind of ahead of its time, I feel like, because I don't feel like any of us were necessarily thinking about how fucked up the prison system was in 2001. Maybe that's just because we were all
15.
babies.
Yeah, we were children.
People were thinking about it.
Yeah, and stem cells were definitely in the news.
They were definitely nascent as far as, like, the general public.
Well, they were still, like, cloning sheep and shit then, weren't we?
Mm.
Isn't that when
It was in the 90s.
Daisy the cow were dating the sheep?
It was Dolly the sheep.
Dolly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who was named after Dolly Parton.
Because of them titties?
Because of dem titties. Because it was cloned from cells from a mammary gland.
Gross. That's
no
fucked
science.
up.
I think you've told us that before, actually.
Well, they should have done a llama, and they could have called it the Dolly Llama, and it could have been named after the Dalai Lama.
We're so close to the finish line.
Well, I did mention that I'm the Neret, so... Anyway, they use baby stem cells, they cure the Neret, and they live happily ever after the end.
But what happens with Neelix?
Oh,
The
yeah!
best B plot
I
ever.
almost totally forgot what this episode is really about, which is that Neelix is a dirty, dirty, dirty birdie who likes to be fucking crushed under the massive weight of gigantic Klingon women and will do anything to get them, including harassing Harry Kim in the hallway and then being like, yeah, you better run, Patak. And not only does he fucking bed down a super hot, huge Klingon lady, he does it in Tuvok's motherfucking room and breaks all his shit. Way to go, Neelix. High five, bro.
Using his Calto set for sounding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Leverage.
Okay, before we get really weird, though, I gotta say, her hair was so fucking cool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you notice that they had, like, crazy, like, she had huge, like, sticks in it to hold it up?
Okay.
It was, Klingons don't usually do, usually it's just down, but she had a whole thing going on. It was great.
And did you notice that she had, what's-it sister titties going on? She had some good...
Oh, yeah,
Duras
she had the-
sister.
Duras
she had
sister
the
cleave.
boob window.
She had some great titties, yep.
I actually
And
genuinely didn't.
Neelix was, like, nose height with that cleavage, so I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him.
that whole B plot was like, they did just enough of it.
They did. That was a good point.
You know, it was like they could have overdone that so much, but it was just like there was the one encounter with Harry, who was like, oh god, she's into me. And then Neelix being like, I got this, acting like he's gonna sacrifice himself when he has been waiting for this.
Mm.
And then the punchline, and then Tuvok barely contained rage.
Yes, he was so
Just
close.
get out.
Like,
so close to having an emotion.
He had, and he's still like, everyone is lucky he is as good a Vulcan as he is, because like, wow, if he is showing that much, God knows what's going on in there.
Yeah.
He could have punched a hole through the hull and not felt it.
We still have that holodeck program where he just gets to murder Neelix.
Yeah, he turned it back on.
Mm.
Oh god, that was. I said to Caitlin, I can't wait till you see this episode. It has what is simultaneously the best and worst thing Voyager has ever done. Because it's amazing, but I don't know that I ever needed to hear Neelix make some of those sounds.
Oh my god, the noises. I was like, suddenly, not only am I on Team Neelix, I kind of want to fuck Neelix now. And I really don't like
You want to
that.
tug on those beard hairs?
Oh, I'm going to tug those whiskers, you betcha.
Wait, Klingons,
I'm going
man.
to chew on them.
Klingon women, when they go outside of Klingons, do tend to, because Grilka seemed kind of actually into Quark.
Mm-hmm.
This lady's clearly into. They like him. They're
Well,
like,
but first she went for Harry.
yeah.
I don't really understand why.
I think because he was like trying to break up a fight, and she thought that was
is that
cool
what
or
it
something.
was?
No,
Oh.
she just caught him playing those sweet, sweet Bill Clinton vibes.
Yeah, clearly regular humans are just kind of boring, which I get it, But yeah, that was again just the right amount of the B plot there.
The one part of the B plot I didn't care for, and it was another, Doc being kind of gross thing. Harry goes to sickbay. I forget what the fuck he was even doing there.
Oh,
He's like, I have a cut on my face.
oh yeah.
Oh, that's right, because, what's her name? Chirega had, bit his
him.
face, which is how you know she's
Yep.
into you.
And the
Yeah.
doctor's like, just bend over and take it like a man. Here's your permission slip to fuck.
And I don't like that.
No, I don't either.
I don't
It's
like
horrible.
that at all, because Harry has just told you he is not interested. He would not like this. It is sexual harassment.
Yeah, but it's not
And
the
Doctor-
doctor's job to deal with sexual harassment.
Yeah, but it's not also the doctor's job to cheerlead for the sexual harasser.
That's fair. That is true.
It's like, oh, Harry, you know what you should do? You can either kill her or better. So I've said last episode we don't like killing, so I don't care for the doctor's attitude.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I
no, it
think
was a
it's
little
skeezy.
weird.
I mean,
He was
this
just
is
like, yeah.
This is the same doctor who
Painted Seven naked.
painted Seven naked, then got
Gross.
inside her brain and did bad things in her body.
And then when she was like, you violated me, we just all kind of laughed and shrugged and moved on.
And made her apologize.
That made me so angry, that episode.
Me too.
I'm still mad about it.
I'm
Ames.
still mad about it.
yeah, so I mean, the doctor, he's got a kind of a
He
weird
should have
streak.
referred Harry to Chakotay. This feels like that falls under his purview.
Yeah, and Chakotay would be a good person about it and be like, okay, Harry, you can bunk with me.
Or he would have been like, I'll handle this.
And
Walks
then
up to the
he
Klingons,
gets
pulls his
naked.
clothes off, and they all just go, what the fuck is happening?
I was actually expecting, if Chirega's, looking for Harry, being like, oh man, I'm gonna get that guy so I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I'm gonna bet him a lot.
I'm gonna do him so gross, baby.
I was expecting it to be we have to find a disguise for Harry. And then it could have been very funny because it could have been put
Could have
Andorian thingies on Harry or paint him blue.
I was imagining stacking him on top of Paris's shoulders with like a really
The
long
trench
coat.
coat.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's the disguise I was thinking of.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Overall, though, this episode I liked it well enough, but
It's fine.
I feel like the
Neelix is the highlight.
Yeah.
for sure. Because I don't know. I think there's so much opportunity in a generational ship.
Oh, I do love a generational ship.
Full of ultra orthodox Klingons
Mm-hmm.
that just we never talk about. They're just regular Klingons.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, I meant to mention this, you reminded me, thank you. If Worf is the Catholic Klingon, what are these guys?
These are like
Evangelicals.
These are like, well, no, because evangelicals don't follow the teaching.
Well, but they pretend to, don't they?
Yeah, they make it up as they go.
Well,
Mormon Klingons.
yeah, they're almost like...
We're back to the Mormons somehow.
I was going to say, at first I was like, Mormons? Like, no, it's even more like... It's the closest I can come up with.
They're
like
the
it's
Mel
Gibsons. Yeah, I could see that.
Do you think these were Holocaust denier
well, wasn't it the case
Klingons?
that like Mel Gibson is or was or probably still
I'm sure still
is like a member of some like very
dumb church
Orthodox
for idiots? Oh.
Yeah,
Catholic.
it's a division of Catholicism that rejects Vatican II, I want to say.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo?
Or like the Amy Comey Barrett
yeah.
Catholics.
I don't know what they're talking about anymore.
She's a Supreme Court justice. Who's
Unfortunately.
like crazy religious nut.
I hate this country.
Well, I mean, like, you lost me at Vatican II. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Oh, that
It
was...
sounds like a video game.
It was a big gathering of Catholic people in like the 1960s or 70s that tried to sort of modernize the church, by which I mean I think they dragged it into the 19th century.
They stopped doing Mass in Latin.
Yeah, that was the big thing
wow.
that came out of that.
Well, that's your first
And
mistake.
then they introduced Catholicism now.
Now that's what I call Catholicism.
Volume 2. Where are we going with this? Oh, but I did like our friend Captain Kolar. He had such an Avery Brooks delivery of lines.
He did, didn't he?
Every so often I was like, are you just Avery in disguise? What's going on? I thought he quit the scene.
I also
Captain Kolar, Avery in disguise.
At one point, he had like a very Foghorn Leghorn thing going on, and that was what I messaged Chris and was like, "This man sounds like Foghorn Leghorn. I don't know what to do with this."
I did like that he was clearly a guy who'd found himself in charge of a lunatic cult, but he himself wasn't necessarily a believer.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's a generation shift. So
Yeah.
it's about, like, the true believers were their ancestors.
Oh, true.
So they had more.
so,
and they had
like-
a bunch of kids because they have to keep the trip going.
Yeah. And,
Well,
like,
true believers definitely believe in fucking.
yeah, but how many people don't, end up not following in their parents' belief system?
Oh, yeah, no, for
You
sure.
know, Like,
Jake looks at me directly.
I mean, look at me directly, right? You know?
I don't even know what religion your parents are.
Star Trek.
They're-
And so are you.
I think-
So what are you talking about?
Yes, they're Star
Well, they're
Trek.
Catholic. They like lots of cats. I mean, they don't go to church.
I was going to say
but-
they don't seem to practice any of it.
No,
Oh,
they
yeah,
used
that's
to,
fine.
though.
You
They
don't
used
have to.
they
You don't
used
have to. You don't have to do those
sing
things to
in
be
the sing in
Catholic.
the church choir. They were choir boys.
I thought that was just because they liked singing.
I think so, but you don't.
That's our church.
Yes, I was gonna say I too have thought of joining a church so I could be in the choir and sing again.
But yeah.
Join a shower.
I do.
You can sing in the shower.
I sing in the shower all the
God
time.
damn, I didn't get that.
Yeah, it happened. It was fine. Balana got to sort of have some Klingon exposure, which she will not care about again in a week.
Yeah, she did the little, say your bedtime prayers with Kolar. And
Yeah.
It was a cute little moment, but again, yeah, we're never going to see it ever again. Because I feel like once a season, we have Balana faces her Klingon heritage in some way.
But we got 2 of them this season.
And the other one was better.
Yeah,
That was two episodes ago. It was like last week, wasn't it?
I think so.
Oh, in Lineage?
with Adams.
Oh, yeah.
was
What a
he-
bummer that was.
Yeah, that asshole. You were saying though, Caitlin, I remember you texted me. It's like, Tom thought she'd be happy to have more Klingons on board? I was like, yeah, our boy Tommy isn't always that
No,
bright.
he's not paying. Well, Tommy is smoking crack this week because
True, he is all over the place.
Yeah, I'm gonna accept this challenge
To the death! But
But
when it was still to the death, he was like, okay.
yeah, he knew it was to the death. It wasn't like glove slap here. He knew it was a challenge to the death, and yet he still accepted it.
It's because he was feeling emasculated.
I was gonna say it's because the full weight of being a parent was finally behind him. He was like, you know what?
Well, like
Maybe
and
this will be easier.
all of this was so that what's his fuck could convince the other Klingons that Balana's kid
Kolar,
was Takuvma. And
Kalas.
yes.
Oh, I don't have the voice at all.
I was just thinking, where's Justice when we
Just
need it?
good at it.
I will say though, I very minor season 2 Discovery spoilers, but this episode works better in retrospect now. Because you don't have to be like, wow, so that crazy guy, was he actually prophetic? Was it just a coincidence? We know Klingons
He's just that guy.
Klingons have time crystals. Clearly this guy saw the future, but it was a little
that's
muddled.
What you mean. That's a good point.
So it was actually just like, yeah, no, he just legit saw into the future. There we go.
It does actually make me think of Takuvma's cult a little bit.
That's true, because wasn't his whole deal like, we've strayed from the path of Kalis or whatever?
Yeah, so I wonder if it's it's obviously be a retcon, but maybe these are like the distant descendants of
some of them
offshoots of that.
Yeah, they didn't agree. They were like, you know what, you guys were staying behind trying to form your little cult. That's not good enough. We're going.
Yeah, we
are gonna putter off. They're doing pretty well considering their ship is 80 odd years old and stuff. So what's really of the most interest to me on this one is second most interesting thing to me. We've now got this Klingon colony out in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, where the hell did they come from?
And they
left them there.
We beamed them down somewhere.
We found them a new home.
And like
we did for the screens.
Yes, I am honestly like, I know we say this a lot, but I'm gonna say it again. I wouldn't mind seeing what's going on 20 years later in Prodigy.
Could we do what sprouts from the sea?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can have. I'm trying to think. Is who's going to be seeking revenge on Janeway for marooning them on this planet?
Definitely Chirega, because she lost that great Neelix dick.
So they said. Did we ever see any Klingon children? Because I know they said
very,
there were women and children.
Very briefly in that first crowd scene in the cargo bay. Okay. There were like a couple kids and we never saw them again. Because it's bad enough having to put adults in that much makeup. I'm sure putting a kid in it's even more painful.
Yeah. It also seemed a little interesting to me how quickly they came around to, the Khitomer. The Khitomer cores, that's a thing.
Well, I think so much of it was, because it was also in that prophecy, right? There was a line about
houses or whatever.
The warring houses will cease. You'll know me before I know anything.
But also, I think part of it, although not as explicit, was also just like, oh, you can see through our cloak because it's old. All right, let's play nice. Fuck, we don't have a technological advantage.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that like the weapons were even remotely matched. Like, I would think that
they've been out
Klingon disruptors 100 years ago would be Darbo.
Not doing nothing for the last 100 years. Maybe they, met another group of aliens in the Delta Quadrant and, traded for weapons or
just the one
otherwise acquired weapons.
The one thing they didn't have to upgrade was their cloak, because no one else knew the trick of it. So,
except the people in Unforgettable. But no one remembers that.
Maybe that's where Shepard Book got cloak designs.
Oh yeah, there you go.
He met the Klingons first.
That works.
It also seems like that's a fucking hardy ship.
Yeah, goddamn.
I wonder they should have like made the model look distressed or like
that would have been nice.
Like it was like strap a bunch of luggage to the roof or something.
Yeah, but I mean, had the original idea gone through, Voyager would have been all piecemeal by now.
Yeah, I would have liked that.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, I've always thought that they should have left the Borgie shit that they had.
Ditto, because it was cool.
Just leave it.
On the other hand, God knows what crazy shit Tom would have insisted they put in place of the board. They'd actually just have a big fucking ship's wheel like back in the day.
Yay. He's the only one that knows how to pilot it. But he's also your nurse.
God damn it.
Yeah, Janeway was fucking holding her own when fucking, what's his name? Togreth, the dual guy who's dying of Nuret quite a lot, is trying to take over the ship. And they get onto the bridge because they get beamed over because that's how you do. And Janeway just shoots like 5 of them, whilst I think Paris is trying to like get towards a gun on the floor and failing, and every time he tries to get the gun they shoot and he's like, I don't like this. But Janeway takes out like most of the fucking team.
Janeway's just like, I have been invaded by so much weird bullshit out here. It's refreshing to see a familiar enemy.
She's very used to people beaming onto the bridge and shooting. So
yeah, and again, it's Klingon. She knows Klingons. There's no shock factor.
She has a gun stashed behind her captain's chair. There's probably guns and knives just like
hidden everywhere,
hidden all over the bridge, and only she knows about it.
Tuvok might know some of them.
Well, he's got his own. He's got a Lirpa just strapped to the ceiling.
Nice.
No one has noticed because no one ever looks up on the bridge. Ever. It's like
That's because there's just studio lights up there.
It's like the people of is the planet actually called Cricket in the third Hitchhiker's Guide novel?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, the people that never look up because their sky is blank, so there's no point.
Don't remember this detail at all. I should reread the Hitchhiker's books.
The first 4 are great, and then the 5th happens.
I remember reading all of them and being fine.
It's just a downer.
I also like the little mobile they put over a crib, and it had a little bird of prey on it, and it had a little Voyager, and they're like pastel colors, and I thought it was very cute.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about that new Klingon colony is at least some of the people there are going to be half Talaxian.
Oh God, what's that makeup look like?
Oh wow, I kind of want to see it.
Speaking of makeup.
No, I have. What are you doing? If you're segueing, I have a better segue.
You probably do. But I was going to say, I did not recognize him per se, but does anyone know who that was that tried to take over the ship?
Yes, I do. And it was going to be also in my segue, so perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me think. Which the not the main, not the captain, but like
the guy who dueled.
Oh, the
Paris.
dueling man.
Because I was like, this guy seems familiar, and I looked him up, and I don't know who I thought he was, to be honest, but I definitely didn't think it was this guy.
Let me think. I got to picture him. He's not the guy from Half-a-Life, is he?
No.
But that's a good guess.
They do have similar shaped heads.
Yeah, they do have big blocky heads.
Big blocky head. Is it Jono's dad?
Yeah.
Yes!
Holy
Holy
shit!
fuck!
Jake for
God
the win.
damn.
Getting it.
See, because I never would have gotten it. Like, because again, I don't know who I thought he was, but not even remote. Fucking well done.
Yeah, I already knew it because it was on Memory Alpha. Like, oh, this was Sherman Howard, who previously played Endar.
And apparently played a Vulcan in DS9, who played darts against the Chief.
Darts.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't remember. Even having read it, it's like, I don't remember this subplot at all. But there was a picture of him, and it's like, that's him, all right, as a Vulcan.
So we already know about Kike from the previous episode, but was the prison guard... Was he one of the saboteurs, or like one of the thieves from Starship Mine?
Oh god, if he was, I didn't write it down.
I didn't even think to look him up, to be honest.
I think he might have.
He looked familiar to me also, but I don't know why.
And I think that the Ike, what was his name?
Iko,
whatever.
Iko.
I think he was. I don't know if he's been in Star Trek, but I recognize that actor too. He's been in some stuff. He was in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, okay.
Our captain, I don't think he's been in Star Trek again, but he was in the Orville because Seth MacFarlane's like a fucking Pokemon trainer. Just gotta collect every Star Trek actor he can, no matter how minor.
Nice. Well, I think he had such a great voice.
He did.
He's worth it.
It's a great voice.
I'm surprised we didn't see more of this guy because he was good.
Yeah.
Good voice, good performance.
Yeah. Why don't you stay on the ship? In fact, let the rest of your colony go live on a planet somewhere, and we'll keep you.
We'll keep you, and Neelix would very much like.
If Chirega stays.
I'm really gonna miss her.
Oh man. Fucking Ethan Phillips hamming, and it's great.
I love him. I've come full fucking circle.
Hooray! Oh man, your character journey has been so profound, Caitlin.
I hate it.
What an arc. And yeah, again, though, so much of it too was sold by just Tim Russ's just...
So mad.
He doesn't, it's not even, there's no lines, it's just his face.
Yep.
And he does it perfectly.
Because he knows there's just so many fluids everywhere in his room now.
Oh.
Well, I'm sorry.
He goes to Janeway and is like, Captain, I am disabling the fire suppression system in my quarters. I'm just starting from scratch.
We're going to blow everything into space.
Fire cleans all, says
Nuke
Chris.
It from orbit. We're not in orbit.
Here's the thing, though, right? So if they gave the Klingons quarters, like Neelix presumably gave his quarters up to a Klingon family.
To a nice couple, he said so.
I mean, where's Neelix's girlfriend staying? And
Well, they're probably bunked up too, though. Oh. There's someone else in her quarters too.
She might have she clearly doesn't have a mate, but maybe she's there with her parents and sibling or something.
Oh yeah, it's a generational ship.
Oh, gross. Yeah. You definitely know.
Yeah,
what
but the thing is, we don't see a lot. We don't see any old Klingons because they all die.
That's true of
So her parents probably aren't around.
It's
She could be very young.
Oh my god, it's the Grups all over again.
Yeah. It is
Oh
the
wow! There's the best segue yet. You did it, Chris. So speaking of the Grups and the what do they call the little ones? The Onlys.
The Onlys?
Yeah, the Philip Morris clan.
Oh, Philip Morris, the one good
Philip
kid.
Morris and the guy from Scrooged.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Was that John? Was John from Scrooged?
No idea.
I don't think that the guy that talks like this.
Like a bad Jack Nicholson?
Yeah.
Neat.
Mary.
That's Kato Kaelin, isn't it? No, wait, that's not who I mean.
Christian Slater.
Christian Slater, that's who I
From
meant.
Star Trek 6.
Thank you.
So much going on right now, but what's really going on is we're gonna segue smoothly because our topic of the week, because we saw Endar and he, Endar's kid we'll talk about, and we'll talk about the Miri kids, and we'll talk about, because Tom, because Tom and B'Elanna are having a kid. We're talking about children in Star Trek.
Oh,
So we're talking specifically about kids,
Mm-hmm.
kid actors. If you're under 13 or 14 and you're a pivotal character in one way or another. So not fucking Renee Picard, because fuck that kid. Because there's a lot of kids otherwise, and I don't want to be here for too many days.
What about Jean-Luc Picard?
Which one?
When he's a child in Rascals.
Oh well, we'll get to that. Yeah, so we're talking children in Trek. Wow, most of them are
number
insufferable.
one dad.
So Jake's already wants to talk about Rascals.
But we can't get there yet.
Why not?
Oh, we're not going in order?
I don't care.
Okay, then let's talk about Rascals. What a terrible episode.
That is terrible.
So bad.
It's so bad.
Plus, you got your ship taken over by the Ferengi. How fucking embarrassing.
Really, it's the quality of the child actors in TNG are just so...
And there's so...
universally poor.
In TNG, there's also so many child-centered episodes, and they rarely get good kids.
Yeah, because there's that, and it's not the whole episode, but fucking Disaster has Picard
I think they're a substantial part of that episode.
Turbo. Yeah, they are. I'm admitting they're not the whole thing, but they are a huge...
Radish Kid.
Fucking hate Radish Kid so
Everybody
much.
hates Radish Kid.
He's one of my least favorite kids in
He's
Trek.
the worst.
I love radishes, so I can't hate Radish Kid.
I like a radish.
But he grew them all weird.
It's fine.
As
As long as I can eat them.
You grow them in some special dirt so they come up all weird.
Okay, this technically doesn't count, but I just love bringing this up.
Okay.
When, actually, is that also Disaster, where Keiko gives birth and Worf is stuck delivering the baby? That's amazing. He is so... And then the callback in Deep Space Nine. That's good. Unlike Radish
I will
Kid.
not be there. Unlike Radish
Oh,
Kid.
Kiriyoshi.
Mm.
Kiriyoshi's an awful child. He's always crying and shit.
You
But
have to
Molly
put him in
is
the hole.
cute. I like Molly.
Well, speaking of the
Until
worst...
she turns into older Molly.
Feral
who's
Molly.
feral.
Yeah, but here's the thing, I think as far as the kids that were recurring kid actors, Molly is not terribly offensive
That's
to me.
because she's never given anything because she's too young to handle it.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's
Which is how you do it.
Yeah, she's clearly in those early seasons, especially she had clearly just been told what to say right before they said action.
Go hug Rosalind Chow and say, "I love you, Mommy," and then look over here where we're going to shine a light, and then we're going to cut the scene.
Yeah.
It's and I might have said this before, but that's why in the original Charlie Brown Christmas special, I think it was.
Oh yeah, you have mentioned
Sally.
this before.
It was Sally literally couldn't read well enough yet to learn her line, so they would tell her line, and she would record.
Linus's little sister.
Yeah.
One word at a time.
No. Charlie Brown's little sister has a crush on Linus.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Linus's sister is that
Lucy.
awful Lucy. Yeah, what other TNG kid-centric...
Just look at the poster behind you.
Well,
and the row of children at the front.
two popped into my head as soon as I said that, and weirdly both involve adopting a kid.
Okay.
Because there's when Worf takes in that orphan boy.
Jeremy Astor in The Bonding.
Yeah, and
he's a decent enough kid.
Yeah, I remember him being all right.
Decent actor.
Oh, what
RoboCop
about
2.
Is the other one that annoying kid that latches onto Data?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking
Oh,
hate that
him.
kid.
I don't remember him well enough to know what I thought of his skill.
He was annoying.
I thought he was terrible.
Yeah, I genuinely just...
Oh my god! But you know who's the worst? Alexander.
Alexander
Oh,
is the
obviously.
worst.
Goes without saying.
By quite a lot.
Until he's Deep Space Nine, almost adult Alexander, and then
because then he can act.
He's a lovable doofus.
Yeah, I enjoyed Teenage Alexander.
How we feel about Lol?
Does she count?
I don't think
she's like a day old.
Well, yeah, but the
but
actor
we don't need a child actor for her.
Yeah, she's
So we're only talking about child actor.
Yeah,
But for what it's worth, I hated LOL.
Children who are played by children.
Gotcha.
Which means we actually can't talk about some of the Miri kids because they were clearly 30.
Yeah.
I know, that's a good point. Both Miri and John were just way too fucking old.
I was thinking about this because I knew we were going to talk about this. I'm like, what is it with Hollywood? Why do they'll have actual fucking, barely standing children. They will have people from their 20s up. Why do they avoid teenagers so much?
Because teenagers are assholes and they probably can't act very well. It's because you can get away with casting someone that's a little bit older and who has no, work hour restrictions.
True.
That a teenager would have.
Oh, that's a good point. And your education has to be on a different schedule.
So, if you can, that's why it was funny, all the Dawson's Creek kids were,
in their 40s.
No, they weren't in their 40s. They were, in their 20s.
Yeah, they were very clearly not teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's also wild. I recently read Will Wheaton's book, or one of his books about his book. Still Just a Geek, I think.
Something like that.
And so much of it, good God, this man hates his parents so much.
I don't blame
for making him do this stuff when he told them so many times, I'd like to not act, please. I don't like any of this. And then his parents would, make him do the acting. And then they took a lot of his money, and they suck a whole lot, and he's basically divorced himself from his family.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Speaking of Will Wheaton...
Yeah, there's got to be some Wesley episodes.
There's so many Wesley episodes, and most of them aren't great because the writers didn't know what the fuck to do with a kid.
No. Well, and again, I mean,
Will wasn't amazing as an actor, but they also, gave him the wrong shit to do.
Yeah, well, I've said this to people before when talking about it, and I think I've even said it on the show. It's really, they used him a lot in seasons 1 and 2, when frankly, none of the characters were really written that well.
I agree with that.
It's a shame that by the time the writing got better, they were using him less, because I think he did quite well with what they gave him at that point.
I think it's really, less is more with Wesley, and I think that once he was out of the main cast, really, in just sort of occasional
guest. The game. He's very good at.
The game was good.
Yeah.
First Duty. Journey's End even is pretty okay.
Well, he's good in it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where he technically might be involved with the founding of the Maquis.
Yes.
You think Eddington had a photo of him somewhere? No. Hung up right next to his drawing of Jean Valjean.
His signed, Les Mis poster by Wesley for some reason.
Well, the Maquis already existed by the time.
Did they?
Yeah, because the Maquis were introduced in Ensign Row. But yes.
Jake and Nog are great.
Jake and Nog are great.
That's the weird contrast. We have these absolutely dismal child actors all throughout TNG, but then you get to D69 and you get Sherlock Lofton, who's just
of course,
great.
Nog is actually in reality already outside of our
Nog's not actually a child.
That's a good point. Yeah,
he was already
playing
in his 20s.
Someone very young.
But yeah, Sherlock Lofton did actually start off
10 or something, right? Or 11?
13? He's quite young.
A little guy.
And then he sprouts like a mother. Yeah. He was already kind of tall, but then it's like...
But even as when he's younger...
He's still good, yeah.
He's still good. He's a talented actor.
They wrote him appropriately as well. They wrote him to just be a kid and do very normal stuff.
Yeah, that's the problem, is Wesley was supposed to be a super genius.
Yeah.
In a world of incredibly intelligent people anyway.
Yeah, when Wesley walks in a room and everyone's staring at a problem and he's like, oh, have you tried this? And you just want to punch him in the head.
Yeah, Jake's just a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, but other than that, we don't get a ton of kid stuff in DS9, I feel like.
Not the show for it.
Not as much as TNG.
No.
Yeah, there's a bunch of one-offs that I can name.
Well, there's that young that young ruler.
Oh yeah.
Who Nog has a crush on.
Oh yeah, from the Storyteller.
But she was good.
Fine. Yeah, she was fine.
But she was also a late teen, I think.
She
was playing 15, which means she might have been 18 or 20 for all I know.
There was the kid that the Cardassian kid that hated that he was Cardassian.
Yeah. Oh, that was raised by Bajorans.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, he might have actually been younger.
Yeah,
possibly.
I can't remember.
Yeah, under a lot of makeup, so you can't really tell.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I think he was fun, but he was playing like an actual. Like, he was playing a character with a motivation.
Yeah.
A lot of like pent up hatred. It's like, okay, if you're a teen actor, you can do it. Yeah, just be a teen.
There's baby Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, from the abandoned.
He was only a kid for
like a day,
Yeah.
but it counts.
Yeah, I think with TNG, with having families on the ship,
Yeah, there's kids
explicitly more room
fucking
for
everywhere.
it. Hey, let's have a bunch of civilians on our fucking ship. Great idea.
Yeah, because we have like just a whole slew of kids in When the Bow Breaks, which is just an episode teeming with just annoying children.
Yeah, they weren't great.
And I didn't care for most of them.
Do we have to? Do you really want them back that badly, Enterprise?
Well, Wesley will save the day more often than these other kids will ruin it, so...
Balances out. Worf was like, no, but they can keep Alexander, though. I promise, it's fine. I will not be upset. Oh,
this was well before Alexander.
Oh, was?
A
Okay.
thing. Yeah, this was like season 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. I'd forgotten. Oh, yeah, if Wesley was around, I guess, yeah.
We also get Data's little pen pal, Sarjenka.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked her. I thought she was well
good.
done.
Yeah, from what I recall, it was even a decent episode.
Yeah,
And it was also, the B plot was Wesley heavy, because it was Wesley being
That's
given
true.
charge of a team, and they not taking him seriously, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's that.
It's like, wait. So I'm not only answering to a civilian, I'm answering to a child?
And he's wearing that onesie?
His mom's fucking the captain. So
Ah.
We brought up Jono earlier. Terrible child.
All I remember is the keening.
The keening, he doesn't respect women, but so much of that is just that people's culture.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's the thing. In
fuck
reality,
you.
the actor was doing exactly what the script told him to. They just
Yeah.
wrote him to be fucking obnoxious.
I thought actually the way they portrayed like his relationship with Endar, his dad,
Yeah.
was very nice. I remember that being very
Yeah,
nice.
that was, yeah.
We have Troy's child from The Child.
The child. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Andrew? Ian Andrew?
Ian Andrew
Yeah.
Troy. I think that's right.
Ian Anderson Troy plays the flute.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, Riker Jr.
Yeah,
from,
Barash.
yeah.
Or, I think he named him Jean-Luc Jr., and then we learned his name was Ethan, but his actual name is Barash, and I love him.
Yeah, and wasn't he basically just a gray, too,
Yeah.
in the end? Which,
With
wow.
creepy hands.
Star Trek
The
just
puppet at the end was kind of
Star Trek just finally did a gray. Like, legit. Okay.
What do we consider Clint Howard?
I was
To be.
just thinking
That's
that!
a good question, because
Speaking
I saw
of
someone...
funky-looking puppets.
Someone put him on a list, but it's like, yeah, but he's playing an adult.
Yeah,
And
he's
also
a
he's-
child actor.
I
And
don't
he's also
know.
not doing his own
And he's
voice.
not
Yeah,
doing
he's
his own
dubbed
voice.
by an adult, so...
But he is drinking that Tranya.
He
And that's
is.
the most important thing.
Yeah, I think this is a case where just by the metric of it's the child is central to the story as a child, it doesn't count.
But it is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give him a lot of credit. Like, he's watchable because also it's another voice. He doesn't do anything. He's on screen for less than a minute.
And I'll give him this, like, yeah, he didn't have to say anything, but he was focusing on things which not all children can do. Like
He
his
has that
face,
weird, creepy laugh
Yeah.
thing that he does.
his face was convincing with the voice.
Yeah.
I guess, which doesn't sound like much, but actually, when you think about it, that could have gone so wrong.
Yeah, he did the visual acting very well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, he was actually laughing and stuff in the scene so
Yeah.
that they could have someone dubbed, but...
Oh man, I wonder if somewhere there's the original audio from that scene
Oh
with his
my
little
God.
squeaky kid voice.
Oh my god. Find it. And then burn it. We did miss another one in TOS. They had a bunch of, like, a slew of small
I'm thinking
children.
it. I hate it.
Oh, yeah. It's And the Children
Children
Shall
Shall
Lead,
Lead.
and it's miserable. That's also not a good episode.
And the children are annoying.
They're real bad.
The angel can't act because he's just some lawyer.
Yeah, dressed as a Christmas tree.
Hate that episode.
It's not
We
good.
we almost had more of Kirk's nephew, but his scenes got cut.
Oh, yeah, we only see him unconscious in Taste of
Yeah,
Armageddon,
but
I
there,
think.
sure.
I'm going to say that might be right.
Is it that or Operation
No,
Annihilate?
it's Operation Annihilate, you're right.
What about Baby Spock in TAS?
Yeah.
Was he actually voiced by a kid?
He was.
Well, there we go.
Remember the story was they only used the footage from his audition?
Oh my
And
god,
the
that's
poor
right!
kid.
Those fuckers!
The poor kid's like, I did such a terrible job on some of these lines, I would have redone them.
Bastards.
Oh yeah, he did have a very annoying little Vulcan voice though. Oof. What about Spock again in The Search for Spock?
Oh yes, multiple
baby Spocks.
None of them say anything though,
Yeah.
so
They're non-verbal Spocks.
yeah, it's really hard to say how they would have done it. They made the right faces.
They were there acting.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Who says you have to have lines to be a character?
No, I know. A lot of those tribbles were only like a day old.
If even.
Weird, Chris. Would you count from TAS the counterclock incident?
Oh God!
Of the whole crew aging backwards?
Were they played by children in that, or were they just like...
I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even remember if they had lines when they were children. Or whether it just, Robert Aprils just started being the character all of a sudden, and Spock, who was just young adult Spock.
It was actually just James Doohan doing lots of little kids' voices.
Oh no!
Yes.
What is he doing?
Eric's. The little girl from the Alamarain episode.
There's a little girl in
I
there?
don't think there's a little girl in that.
There sure is.
Oh yeah, the one that actually sings the stupid song.
Oh,
Doy.
the girl in the game.
Yes. Yeah. And then, is it in TNG? Doesn't Luoxana actually encounter, like, a little girl who's being her little girl?
Oh, that's right.
That's Hedril, I think.
That
in
gives
Dark
her
Page.
it gives her the flashbacks to, and that's somebody, isn't that little
Kirsten
Dunst? Yeah, little Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and we jumped right over Clara Sutter, who had an imaginary friend who was also a child.
Oh yeah,
imaginary friend.
Wasn't she like an evil little bitch?
Yes, and she was super evil. She was actually an alien.
Sort of remember that episode, kind of.
It's not a great episode.
What about the pen pal?
We already talked about her.
We talked about. I wasn't listening, obviously.
Yeah, when they invented the Pulaski maneuver, which never comes back, even though it would have been super useful a few times.
Oh, many times.
They brought it up.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
There
They did bring it
was
up once.
a time when they talked about it and said that it wouldn't work.
Because it was like alien physiology or something.
Like that.
Yeah, I think that was in Who Watches the Watch.
I think that we've established that the Pulaski maneuver is when you pull Geordi's head out of his ass.
Oh, what about OG? What about Bobby Hill?
Oh, yeah.
She was like 20 though, wasn't she?
Was she? I don't know.
I feel like she was an adult.
I don't know how old she
by that
the
point
actor would have been. She was supposed to be playing a child.
Yeah, she was like supposed to be a teenager, I think. I mostly just remember her shouting OG and nothing else. So
she's saying
that's her own name.
She shouts "Father."
Oh, that's right. Either way, yeah, I really remember that episode so well.
Either way,
apparently,
is that the one where Picard gets his chair hanging?
Yes,
me.
The thing he hangs over his chair for the rest of his career.
They give him a little tapestry thing.
I see.
I have one more from Deep Space Nine, and that was the little girl from Shadow Play, Taya, who's actually a hologram in that city of holograms that man made to keep.
Oh my god,
yeah, the
that's
one where
right.
he's like the grandpa, and they're all fake people.
Oh, that was so.
They
fucked
have to.
up.
They have to reboot his city.
I forgot all about that.
I like that one.
And I liked the little girl. That was a good little girl.
She was good.
She's not my favorite little girl, because my favorite little girl, we're going to jump to Voyager, because obviously it's Mazzotti.
Yeah, no, she's the best.
Just great.
Yep, no, she's great.
She's the best kid.
So good.
I really like Naomi, too.
Naomi's good, too.
She's good as...
She's less fun because she's not like a blunt little Borg baby. But
yeah, but they don't... The thing that's nice is, like, they don't make the mistake of, like, overusing her every 5 seconds. And it looked like for a minute they were gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember? When we were getting lots of Flaughter episodes? We're just like, what the fuck?
I liked the Flaughter episode.
Flaughter's alright.
Well,
that doll's a fucking nightmare,
really don't
though.
like Flaughter, but regardless, for a minute it looked like Naomi was going to be a fucking problem. And then they were like, you know what? Let's just bring it back a little bit.
I think they also do Naomi some justice by doing kind of what they did with Jake Sisko with her, in that she's a very normal kid.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have, she does age fast, which, so did Alexander.
Because she's part...
So did the child and the child. And
part pointy.
Katerian.
There we go.
She's part pointy.
But I also like her actress an awful lot. She's quite good, I think.
Yeah.
I think she's a musician now.
Oh, cool.
She's like in a band or something. The less said about the twins, the better.
Yeah.
They were the worst.
Oh, what about Baby 7?
I don't think we ever see her enough.
Yeah, we see a frightened...
We see a moment
child,
of her.
yeah. I don't remember her well enough to...
I can't really make a judgment. She got Borged, so there you go, honey. There were 3 very terrible children. and innocence.
Oh, yeah.
God,
yeah.
we just talked about that like
3
last week.
awful, naughty children.
And I already forgot it again.
Like last week? When did we
Or
release
2 weeks. For some reason, we brought up that
Oh,
episode.
did we? That's terrible, because I
And
hate that
I
episode.
already forgot again that it existed because it's a bad episode.
Oh, just really terrible kids.
So bad. So bad. Ugh, poor Tim Russ. Having to carry that whole thing on his shoulders.
Yeah, because the rest of that episode was not great.
So bad.
EMH had his hollow kids in real
God.
life, and again, I feel like the little girl was quite good.
Yeah.
They have a little bit more of a bench now, I think. By the time we hit like the late '90s, early aughts,
Yeah.
because earlier like TNG, like they just kept picking shit
They
kids.
really did.
Well, because wasn't it mostly like people and the cast and crew's kids?
I don't know if in the '80s they were doing that. They
Oh,
definitely
right.
did that in the '60s.
Yeah, like a couple of Shatner's actual kids were in Miri, I know.
Yeah, and Grace Lee Whitney's kid and all
Yeah,
this thing.
Gross. Imagine letting Bill Shatner make you pregnant.
Wow!
I thought you were saying, imagine letting Bill Shatner be your dad.
Well, that's sort of what I said, but not exactly. Yuck. Anyway.
Is
Definitely.
Nimoy's kid ever in anything? Or would it have been confusing because he looks too much like him?
I remember in Miri when they said, "Oh, Nimoy, you should like have your kid on because we're doing all our kids today." He said no.
He was like, no, my child is terrible. That's a terrible idea. Do we forget any babies, Ames?
The only ones I have, would you guys count Carr from Initiations? He was also played by...
No, he was an adult by then.
Was it not by then? Oh, the character
Definitely.
was too?
Well, I mean...
Well, but if the point is kid
Aaron
Yeah,
Eisenberg
fair,
certainly
fair,
was.
fair.
Yeah, he was already an adult.
Yeah, and Isheb is too on the cusp, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one I saw was like Charlie from Charlie X, but
Yeah, but he was also actually 20-something, clearly.
Yeah. How old was Jason Janeway?
He might have actually been a
teens-
teenager.
teens-ish?
He seemed like a teenager.
Yeah, he seemed like he actually might have been
Oh,
legit.
in that terrible episode.
Yeah, in the terrible episode, but I think
but
he was like
He was good.
He was
He
one
was
of the
good,
highlights of that episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
one of
was
the only
very
saving
good.
graces of that fucking tire fire.
Well, and I mean, like, Kate was great, obviously, but what a terrible...
Yeah, but so many of her scenes were with Henry.
Yeah.
Oh, Henry.
Brought down everything around him. I don't-
Herculean effort, blah, 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 blah.
I don't remember. There'll be at least one Enterprise that has a kid for a bit.
Is it
Wait, we're not, like, looking into the future, are we?
Well, I mean, you know, not really.
just
but-
to
Enterprise.
to fill out the blog?
Yeah.
The only one I can think of is
Sim, yeah.
Sim.
Yeah, there's at least a few scenes with, yeah. Aside from that, I don't think. It's now been so long since I watched Enterprise that it's all very hazy, but, like, there's definitely some flashbacks to Little Archer, but I don't think he does
Yeah,
much.
I think we see him flying his little ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one more kid that we're going to see in a couple weeks in Voyager, but we have a different blog activity planned for then.
Fair enough.
But that's going to be a fun week.
Good.
That's going to be a really fun one. So next week we'll talk more kids. We'll talk kids of probably the currently running series, which mostly I think will be us just chatting about all the kids in Prodigy and how much we love them.
Such a good show.
I do love the kids from Prodigy.
And one of them's actually a kid.
And one of them's kid, yeah,
She's
Rock.
great.
I love Rock.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to that next week. You can see, I don't know what the hell I would have posted about all these kids on our Tumblr, but it means you should go check it out.
Yes.
Go over to sshbpodcast.com or just search the Tumblr or click the links or do the
Tumblr.
things. Make sure you're also subscribed here to whatever it is you're listening to right now, because there's going to be more shows next week. Oh, we have another two-parter next week, so we have to jam in a whole bunch of shit. So next week's going to be dense, because we got episodes The Void, and then Workforce, parts 1 and 2.
Wow.
So that's gonna
those
be
are,
a-
those are both big episodes.
Are they?
Are they?
Yeah, a lot going on.
Oh, boy.
No?
Well, definitely check out that.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, so that'll be next week's. So we'll be back then. Until then, this has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
Jake.
As always, Chris.